ជាថ្ងៃអាទិត្យឯងនាងជាថ្ងៃអាទិត្យបងគិតថានឹងនាំទៅតែរងអាគូស្អែកនាងជាថ្ងៃអាទិត្យស្អែកនាងជាថ្ងៃអាទិត្យបងគិតថានឹងនាំទៅតែរងអាគូ
Okay, and we're back. Oh my goodness, Joseph. Joseph, we're back on the air.
Oh, how did we get back?
How do we get back?
I thought our license got revoked.
It did not. Hello, if you're hearing the sound of my voice, you're listening to AM 1045 KAOP. This show is Accents on Purpose, weekly radio show where we cover the ins and outs of Seattle, the Pacific Northwest, and beyond. My name is Danny.
I'm Joseph.
And behind the glass, as always, is our engineer, Gary.
Yeah.
Gary's pumping up the watts of our tower.
88 watts.
It looks like we got 88 watts of power.
Look at the meter.
Woo. Oh, it's going good. Joseph, how are you doing?
I'm good. That was like the calmest intro you've ever done. I feel like normally we're yelling, and that was like very normal.
Well, you know, we're trying to be on our best behavior.
The best behavior, all right.
So how are you doing, Joseph?
I'm doing really well. Summer's coming to an end. Which I'm sad about.
Well, I'm upset. That's not good that you're sad because I have some bad news for you.
Tell me.
Your favorite band has announced that they're breaking up. I'm really
Fugazi?
sorry. I'm really sorry.
Is it official?
I'm really sorry to tell you, but Die Antwoord is announcing.
It's D Antwoord.
D Antwoord.
Yeah.
See, you know them better than me.
I love D Antwoord. I don't.
D Antwoord is breaking up.
I only love Chappie. I don't love D Antwoord.
I know you like their acting more than their music, but you love it all. And they did an interview with Noisy.com.
Yeah, okay. Take it easy.
I think that's how you get to that website, Noisy.com.
I just Google it.
And he said, and I'm quoting, "The Antwoord dies on..." Oh, they said they're breaking up in... their last record is coming out in 2017, next year.
Wow, that's a lot of notice.
A lot of notice, and they said, "The Antwoord dies on that day. It's all over. I feel beautiful about it. I'm not scared of the end. I am a ninja, not scared of death." And
I want to feel beautiful about something.
I want to feel beautiful about something too. So how do you feel? Your favorite band's breaking up.
Oh God, I feel beautiful about it.
Should we just play a little bit of a track?
I really don't want to, but yeah, go ahead.
I'm a ninja. Yo, my life is like a video game. My main thing when I'm in the zone. One player, one life in the mark. I'm ready to dog.
Go ninja, go!
No fucking it down. I'm cutting down anyone I'm apart. Trying to fuck up my game with razor sharp political throw stars. Shit on my flow.
See, Joseph, that's really weird that that's your favorite band.
And that's my favorite song by them.
That's
and I definitely know the title of it.
Now, do you think in honor of them breaking up this Halloween, we should dress up as them? Because I have a blonde wig.
I'm really excited to see that haircut on you and all those tattoos.
Well, yeah, but you'll be wearing sweatpants and a lot of tattoos, no shirt.
It's like the joke. It's like the new Joker.
It is like the new Joker.
Oh.
It's funny that you said that because
Thank
they
you.
are talking shit about the director, saying that they copped their style.
Are you serious?
I'm being serious.
Oh man.
Anyways, Joseph, a little bit more in the news. There's a lot of news I want to cover.
Our weekly news segment.
Our weekly news segment. Because there's been so much great news. I just wanted to mention this other thing. So I know that you're a very political person. You're out on the campaign trail. And I thought this story might interest you. With Hillary Clinton's emails being dumped all over and people reading them, a very interesting email was found. Bono contacted Hillary Clinton to ask about there being a satellite hookup with the space station for every single concert on their tour. Every single concert, they wanted to broadcast like a two-way thing to the space station.
I'm sure the astronauts up there were just like, God, I hope. Like if they were like, I don't want to have to listen to this.
Then that's the thing is that Bono made everyone who owns an Apple product have his music, whether or not they like it or not. And not satisfied with that, he wanted to go to like the next frontier.
He's super into forcing people to listen to his music as opposed to having fans.
Yeah. And so these astronauts have no choice.
Yeah.
Like they have no choice but to be there. And he wants to broadcast not just once. He said every concert.
Every concert.
God.
Speaking of being political, did I tell you I'm running for student council?
student council?
Yeah.
Of a school that you don't go to?
Yeah. Just every high school and seeing where I can win.
Joseph, I don't know. I don't
The
think...
cops keep coming
Yeah,
over, but I don't know why.
Enough of this nonsense. We have a very special guest.
Yeah. I just want to say about this guest. And this speaks to how much I trust your booking ability. Is I have very little, like a minimal idea of why you're here.
Oh my God! And you say I'm mean to the guests.
No, I'm not. And a minimal idea of why you're here and who you are, but I'm still so excited because I know like the basis of why you're here, and I think it's going to be really fucking interesting, and it's something I know nothing about.
Now I kind of want to just like end the episode and
okay,
and send it out.
And it's just a mystery.
Yeah, it's just a mystery.
They'll never know who's sitting here.
So Joseph, please welcome.
Okay.
He is the head of Neon Sign record label, Chris Spendix.
Hi.
Hey.
Welcome.
Okay.
Thanks. So this is on, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
this is on.
That mic's hot.
The mute button is red.
Yeah,
okay.
well, no. It should. If it's blinking, it's bad.
Blinking.
Yeah, if
Gary
it's blinking,
took
it's
care
bad.
of it.
Yeah,
Perfect.
if it's red, it's on.
Right.
Yeah, because that's like with like TV cameras and stuff. Like when the red light's on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so, yeah.
Well, I just want to make sure.
There we go. We got craft services in
Oh,
this.
yeah. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So Chris runs the record label, is a DJ, played bass in Golden Gardens, and is also, as he says, a music restoration activist.
Yeah. Yeah.
What does that mean to you?
That applies, I suppose.
Well, so let me ask you this:
Yeah.
you are about to embark on a pretty big trip in November. So why don't you tell our listeners, and apparently Joseph,
Oh, yeah, tell me.
who didn't read that 45-page PDF I sent him? with
No,
all
you
of
did
Chris's
send
back-
me a lot of info on it, and I've been busy.
Yeah. As you said, I have been running a record label for a few years. That's a rock music label.
Shoegaze.
Yeah, shoegaze. It's a style of modern rock. So I work with bands around Seattle and around the U.S. and stuff on that. But I'm starting this new project. I got interested in Cambodian music years ago, vintage Cambodian music from before the genocide that happened in the mid-1970s there. And I just happened to hear some of it, and it seemed like, aside from how much I love shoegaze, it was my favorite music that I've heard. And the more I listened to it, the more I wanted to hear more of it, but there isn't a lot of it available. It's become more available, but only through YouTube. And very rarely does any of it get re-released properly as a album or a collection of songs.
Or probably restored to
a high quality.
Yeah, high quality, yeah.
So...
Title quality.
What?
Title music service?
Oh,
Title quality. Title quality,
yeah.
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 Yeah, good one.
Okay, continue, Chris.
Well, so, yeah. Being, my own unique part of working in music, small part, I thought it would be really cool to, do something to help make this music exist more properly again, or reissue it. But I felt a little strange about that because, of my ethnicity, obviously, for one reason.
Like feeling like you were being appropriative, like coming in and being like, "Oh, I'll fix this." Like,
yeah,
this white guy will fix this problem from Cambodia.
Yeah, I don't.
A very tall white guy, we should say.
Yeah.
He's a very tall man. How tall are you?
6'4".
Okay,
God,
you
that's
seem
beautiful.
taller. I think it's because you're skinny.
Yeah, at that time, I thought I was excited by the idea of, helping to work on and restore this music, but I just felt like I wasn't any sort of authority. I had just started hearing it, and there's a lot of reissue labels and that already do things like that for all different types of music around the world. it seemed to me that like I just kind of had this attitude of leaving it to the experts.
Sometimes blind passion can be pretty powerful, though. Like,
Yeah.
But also, and I mean, we could talk about this a little bit later too. It's like, is there like, it's not like everything will ever be reproduced. It's you know,
Yeah.
It seems like the more people work, like any label only has a certain budget, and they can only release so many a year. Whereas if many people are releasing these things, more of the music will just get out. Like it's never like there's never going to be a point where every single Cambodian song from before 1970 is reissued in America.
Yeah, and that I guess that's a little bit of what changed for me. In part, you know, I got more and more passionate about it and learned more about it. And at the same time, you know, some years have passed now, and there hasn't been much more progress in the way that I kind of anticipated there might be. Just because it's so rare that it's difficult for someone who wants to help restore it or reissue it or properly archive it to actually do so, because there's just so few copies of what's out there.
How long have you been doing this?
This project is really the beginning of the project.
Okay.
The concept is something I latched onto in a concrete way just in the last 2 years.
Oh, nice.
So up until now, I've been kind of organizing my kind of vision for it and do, you know, kind of, I would say up until about 2 years ago, I was like getting familiar with the music itself and the culture a little bit. And then that reached a point where like I actually felt like maybe I should really embark on like a restoration project or at least examine like if it's feasible for me. So the past 2 years, especially 1 year, like in the past year, I've been really like focused on the idea and kind of committing to it. And so now, at this point, earlier this year, I did a DJ set of this music, just a digital set because the music's so rare. I don't even own very much of it. And the records are considerably valuable, so I hate to play them out. But
that was so. That was connected to an event. So why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I got to the point where I felt interested in maybe playing some of the music out somewhere in the right context. Well, the right context came along because Dengue Fever is a current rock band that's fronted by Cambodian American, and they're from California, but they play some, like, their music is kind of has their roots in this oldie stuff, and they, in fact, at their shows they play covers of it also. So I was in touch with, they played at the Crocodile here, a venue in town, and I did a DJ set in the back bar, so we kind of had like a pre-party back there. I played for like 3 hours.
Longest I've ever been in that bar, the back bar.
Yeah.
And I wasn't even there for that long, but did you get any, because I think from my take on it, there were people that seemed to be just there eating. Am I wrong? Like, it seemed like maybe some people weren't even there for the show, but maybe I was wrong about that. But then it seemed like people who were coming for the show were walking in, and I felt they were like a little bit surprised. I don't know. What kind of feedback did you get from people who were coming to the show and hearing you play that stuff?
Well, the part that I did was set up kind of last minute. So I know, I had some friends that knew about it that came in, and I think I got the word out a little. I had, this is an aspect I'll talk about more later, but there's a documentary about this music that had just played in town again a few weeks prior to that set I did. And there's a Cambodian organization in town here that sponsored that showing. And I had written them about that showing, asking if they were interested in, maybe having some, like, I have a few of these original records, and asked them if they wanted me to, if they were interested in me maybe displaying them at the screening, because it was kind of a special screening.
Yeah. Was that the Film Forum?
Yeah, that was at Northwest Film Forum. And
shout out to the Film Forum, great place.
Yeah, great place. And I didn't hear back, but then I just dropped them a line again, letting them know that I was doing that set, and they came by, and we exchanged information and kept in touch. So I'll talk more about that later. But
well, one thing I want to talk about with your trip, and I want to mention in the beginning because I myself sometimes don't listen to a whole podcast, and I know our listeners fucking hang on every word. But you are doing, you're trying to raise some funds for this, and I want to give out that information at least at the beginning. So
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, to jump forward at this point, bringing up that organization now at they're working on like social justice issues and kind of trying to
in the States or in Cambodia.
Kind of they're kind of part of the name of their event. They're called Rajana Society. But they have this arts event coming up called Speen Rajana, which means bridge. Okay. And they're kind of trying to bridge between Cambodia and Seattle. So they're working in social justice areas and like kind of cultural and arts advancement for Cambodian people. So they're going on a trip in November, and I'm going on that trip along with them.
Nice.
Yeah.
Gary, I don't like that sound effect. Can you please delete that?
I try to get those buttons away from him,
do not play that sound effect ever.
He does have the air horn too.
Don't play that sound effect either. Okay, Gary, just put that sound effects record away. I don't care.
I like that he has one record that he's skipping around.
Anyways,
so Rajana Society has a whole trip lined up where we're meeting with a bunch of organizations over there that are in social justice and arts, culture, and for me and my project, it remains kind of my own project, but we're meeting with a lot of places that'll help me kind of do some preliminary research. And
well, it's also good because I asked you once this before, but so you don't speak the language.
No.
So you just showing up with in Cambodia with like a PayPal account and be like, show me your records. Having a few people there that can facilitate and point in the right direction. That's going to be great.
Yeah. This trip I'm doing a fundraiser for to help pay for the expenses and the visas and all of that. I've been running that for about 3 weeks now, and I've raised enough that has helped me book my flight.
Always use some more.
Yeah. So feel free to contribute. I have a page on GoFundMe. It's at gofundme.com/Pearl of Asia, which is when this project has some concrete results. I intend to have it framed within like a proper record label.
A label or an imprint? Neon sign.
I think it'll be separate from the neon sign label.
So is your end game in all this to like?
You're always about the end game.
Yeah, hey, it's my favorite volume of Scott Snyder's Batman.
You know what? Speaking of end game, you know what?
Jesus Christ. Wait, hang on. Let me ask my question.
Yeah.
Oh, so end game. Back to your end game.
End game.
What? So you want to have a record label and like get the rights and like release?
Ooh, rights. He brought up the interesting question that was on my list to ask.
And like re-release these on like compilations or through 7 inches. And that, like, how do you archive something like this? Is that digitally or vinyl?
That's like 12 questions you just asked me at once.
Pretty much. Why are you here?
Well, you've named a lot of the questions that I've had to ask myself the past year, and
Do you look in the mirror when you ask them?
Wait. Can I re-ask some of those questions?
Please. I think you should streamline the whole thing.
Right off the bat,
Yeah.
are you going to gear towards digital or like LPs final?
What I want to do is reissue the records exactly as they looked when they were released, because the format, as much as I love this music, what really kind of pushed me to feel compelled to do it was seeing how important it actually was to Khmer people, Cambodian culture.
Yeah, what like back then, like, was it some sort of movement?
Yeah,
in the culture.
Yeah,
I mean, I would tell all of our listeners, just push pause and then go watch. Don't think I've forgotten.
Don't think I've forgotten.
Don't think I've forgotten. The documentary. It's amazing.
Yeah, it was released last year. It's on streaming sources. It's coming out on DVD soon.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a remarkable film.
I mean, 'cause that seems like a very big question to answer.
Okay. Yeah. Well, no, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
We if we remember, we'll link the GoFundMe page and maybe like a trailer or something to the movie, so people can know what it's all about.
So many links.
Yeah.
Oh God, more links than Zelda.
But no, so they're going to be like 7-inch reissues with the same artwork.
Yeah. The artwork is brilliant. It's really, really cool. And I think it existing in the same. I mean, that seemed to me. It seems only right. I mean, this, like, part of why I want to do this is because the reason the music's so rare now is, there was an anti-Western movement in Cambodia in the mid-'70s because of the U.S. involvement in the Vietnam War, and and
dropping a lot of bombs on Laos.
Yeah. and Cambodia.
Not being at war there, but having a ton of troops and shit.
So people that were making Western influence art were all, for the most part, killed, and a lot of the records and things like that had any Western influence were destroyed. This music is all it was created kind of in about the late 50s to the mid 70s, based off of people in Cambodia getting access to records from South America, France, the US,
and then also one of the things about the movie that I thought was really cool was they mentioned that as soon as the US had ships off the coast, they were getting the radio signals, and so like all the shit the GIs were like the Air Force Network or whatever it's called. Yeah, the stuff they were listening to relax. Those airwaves were hitting Cambodia, and everyone was picking them up, and like all this new influence. Like
I like that they were listening to it to relax, not just listening to it.
GI, I mean,
I just picture them out on like the boat deck, like relaxing, listening to some radio. Oh God. So when you go to Cambodia and you're searching out this music, are you hoping to come back with physical records? Is that the ultimate goal or end game, if you will?
No.
The fuck is with you and end game?
I don't know.
On the trip, I'm actually more focused on making research connections, and I'll be working with Rajana on some of their projects as well. But yeah, there's a few cultural centers there that I think will really be helpful to, because part of why I'm moving on this project in a very measured way. I mean, last year I could have, taken this and bootlegged it or whatever. I have copies of these records, but that's not at all the way I would want to go about this. I want to properly license it. The interesting part about this is that in the last year or two, the Cambodian government has awarded the rights to many of the songs back to the estates of the artists, because for years and years and years, one nuance to this music is that the country is in complete chaos. So anything like music rights it's an absurd thought.
Like we have bigger shit to deal with. Like there are fields of skulls.
That makes America feel so trivial.
So yeah,
Metallica,
Lars. I don't know why I said it like that.
So when the you know, when they started to rebuild there in the 80s, and they started to, you know, release CDs and tapes again.
CDs in the 80s? Oh boy, Cambodia's really ahead of the curve.
Good God.
So
we don't like each other's jokes tonight at all.
Oh, that's 10 years.
Yeah.
These bootleg companies would put out, you know, the collections of these songs, but they would try to modernize them. They'd add like these really chintzy drum tracks and stuff like that to like boost the sound of these and modernize it.
That's so weird.
So that's one additional aspect that's really important to me about doing these reissues, is sourcing the original music that doesn't have all these add-on parts that just they just kill the sound, you know.
Yeah.
I think it's cool you want to like respect and preserve the culture as opposed to just like co-opting it, like you said, like just bootlegging it.
That's next week's guest, is the guy who just wants to co-opt the culture.
Yeah.
He's an asshole.
Yeah, we're just gonna run him down.
Yeah.
No, but I think that's cool, and like to have the patience and the like, I don't know, to want to do that is cool.
Well, I mean, can you give like a positive and a negative example of people that have done reissues of Cambodian music recently? Like someone or a group of people who did it right, and then someone who just like, you can't believe they did it wrong.
Yeah, I can do that.
I mean, if you don't want to talk shit about anyone, that's fine, but
well, I could keep it very vague.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't.
I mean, I'd more like just like the story in like
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I will say ultimately anything getting out there is amazing because it's just like gold, you know, like it's so hard to access. So even the like kind of wrong turns, if you will, like at least it's out there. So I mean, the best example of this being preserved is actually the soundtrack to that film. They hired basically a world-class studio to do the audio sourcing from the original records. They picked a bunch of killer songs, you know.
I've always wanted to see that happen, just like when they have to take things from a record. Just because I think it'd be fun. Like they listen through, like, do they do it multiple times? I don't know. Like that's a very interesting process that I know very, very little about.
Yeah.
It must have been fun.
But the studio they use has worked, like they've done like forensic work for the government and like they've done a lot of serious work and won a lot of Grammys. So
that's cool.
Yeah, that, I mean, I haven't engaged with them yet, but that I want to work with them. Yeah,
it'd be funny if like with the government work, if that won a Grammy and then like the CIA gets a Grammy.
Were they the people who like listened to the records backwards and found like?
Oh no, those are weird Christians in Kansas.
Oh right,
you know, it's
not the same people.
You know, one thing about government and Grammys that I think is really funny is that so Barack Obama has won 2 Grammys for spoken word. His books that he put out 2 books before he was president, and he
good for him. At least he achieved something.
And he you know, he read them, and so it's sometimes funny when you look at certain pages like Wikipedia or like other things, and they list all of their credentials, and they put Grammy Award winner, and I think it's funny, like, you know, it's really just the most footnote of his.
I'll respect him when he wins an Emmy. For daytime TV, his talk show that he has after he's president. It's like him and Regis. Regis comes out of retirement. Hey, come on, guys.
Chris is like trying to head towards the door.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So negative example.
Yeah, negative example.
That's part of what really pushed me to decide that maybe I should not leave it to the experts, because I felt like maybe there are no experts.
Yeah.
You know, maybe someone needs to become an expert.
Yeah.
Because the great stuff I saw these reissue labels doing, like I actually, like, as I learn more about it, I realize like there's one compilation of like, I think mostly Vietnamese music that the cover that they used for this compilation is one of these vintage Cambodian covers, but there isn't any Cambodian music on it.
That's great. That's just like
they're all the same.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, and regardless, there's another couple of comps that have a ton of great songs. It sounds, I don't know what the process was, but the quality is very it's just very low. Like I think it would have been a totally different product if, like I said, that other studio had worked on it. So like when I started to really dig into this stuff and think about all those parts of it, it made me feel like somebody really should do.
I feel like if we're gonna do this, let's do this.
And one more thing about just these other people reissuing these compilations, like it's just all a bunch of songs kind of thrown together on one thing, and those labels are focused on a wide variety of releases. So I thought it would be beneficial for someone with the interest that I have to go and try to do as much research as possible, put together as many facts as possible. So, because it's not, I mean, the songs are great, but it's part of a deeper understanding of that time and like a remembrance of that, what was lost, that
brutally lost.
Yeah. Well, then also, one thing that annoys me is like false information. Like if I bought a compilation and it said 101 Cambodian tracks, and then I was like, oh wow, and then I found out that like 25 of them were actually from like Vietnam or and I was just like, I would be so mad that it was just like it was because the person like didn't take the time to get things correct.
Yeah,
just accidentally put out misinformation.
Yeah,
that's really annoying.
Yeah, I'm really sensitive to that with this project, and that's really critical to me because it's not really music history to me. It's more like human history,
Yeah.
Like, I mean, one of the most affecting things that really made me feel like I was called to do this was one particular song I saw on YouTube. There was someone who commented on it who was Cambodian, and they asked the person who posted it, they commented, can you tell me what year this song was released, because it'll help me figure out what year I was born.
Oh my god.
Because it was in such, everything was so in disarray that like their parents may have died, or they were all put in a refugee camp,
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's heavy. What?
It is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that really speaks to me. That and I've never seen any music that I saw such a response to, like so passionately. Like I've seen videos where there's 50 comments that say, "This song is so beautiful. It's so sad. There's so much passion with this music."
So that's one of the things too. Is now I've told people that I think that there is like a specific, maybe I shouldn't say specific, but there is a certain sound to it that it doesn't sound necessarily like other countries' music at that time period.
Yeah.
And then people ask, well, what do you mean? Like, describe it. And I'm like, I can't, like, I don't know. I can't, like, explain the sonics of it. But, like, I'm pretty sure that within reason, if I was like, let's say at someone's house and they played a song from a Cambodian compilation, I'm, like, pretty sure that, like, I'd be like, oh, wait, I think this is, like, and it's a certain sound. Do you think that you could describe that? I'm not trying to, like, catch you. I'm just like, is it possible to describe that like nuanced sound that those songs or that country's music has?
Well, probably not to everyone, because I just compare it to other things that I know about. Yeah. But the way I try to point out its uniqueness is, I mean, I can differentiate a little from other Southeast Asian music, because it's this interesting combo of kind of like Americanized Beatles rock, that kind of thing, musically often, but then the vocals are just very, very heartfelt and ethereal, and the voices are so unique. I compare especially the women, will naturally remind me of Cocteau Twins, a modern band. And a more modern band.
We have a lot of millennials that listen to our show.
80s and 90s.
Biggest demographic.
And their vocals are, substantially unique.
Would it be possible to play some for our listeners?
Would you allow Gary to play one of your records that you brought in your bag?
Yeah, I could. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
So now one thing I was going to ask, and you may or may not be able to answer this. Does it seem like there were more like woman-fronted bands and artists, or is that just more of what gets? I don't know. I feel like most of the time, it's more likely that it's a woman singing than a man. Mm-hmm. Is that because of what gets reissued, or is it because of the way music was there, or am I just wrong on both counts?
Well, it's an interesting kind of music scene. What I know of it anyway. There's kind of 4 main artists, and 3 of those are women. But the male was probably the most prolific of all of them, so I would say it's kind of balanced, even though...
Balanced with the amount of songs, but not the artists.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Because like, okay, if someone like is into the British invasion, that's almost exclusively... I don't think I can even name really a woman. I mean, it just seems like there's a lot of like, subgenres of Western music that it seems like it's more male-dominated.
Yeah.
But with Cambodian music, I would say like 6 or 7 out of 10 songs, it's a woman singing.
Yeah. I think some of that is like popularity and recognition and availability. There are a handful of other male singers I know of, but I rarely see their songs. Like I don't know if they were just not as prolific, or if their records didn't survive, or what the case was. But
and let's talk a little about that, because you said some like interesting things about how some of these records have survived. So just to reiterate for our listeners, in the 1970s, when the dictatorship took over, they basically tried to destroy every trace of any Western influence on their culture. So how did these records survive with a dictatorship actively trying to destroy them?
My understanding of how they survived without... I mean, this is another aspect of research I'm continuing to do and learning about the situation. I know many of them were brought with refugees, people who fled, who flew to Paris. They show up in Paris, all of France. And it's possible that they were in France before the genocide happened, just because Cambodia's a colonial state.
Yeah.
A lot of refugees came to the U.S. They landed in Long Beach and Portland and settled in Lowell, Massachusetts. Long Beach is the largest Cambodian population outside of Cambodia. Mm-hmm. Lowell in Massachusetts is a pretty substantial Cambodian community. And I know a lot of records ended up...
just say that's so shitty that they put them on both coasts, just to make it so difficult for them to be able to visit people that they know.
Wait, did you mean Portland, Maine, though?
No.
Oh.
Oregon.
But you also said Massachusetts, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. You said the East Coast, and then I thought...
Well, that's what I meant. Like, okay,
Yeah.
at least, like, okay, Long Beach and Portland, not too close together, but a little bit easier to have some sort of, like, reunion or just go and talk to people who speak the same language. But yeah, let's just throw some in Massachusetts, so they're as far away from possible as anyone who could have some sort of understanding of where they came from. But that's my 2 cents. Continue.
Yeah. So a lot of the records, like, that's another aspect of like how beloved this stuff is. People who are refugees who packed a suitcase, many of them brought these records with them, and that's great because, some of them came through in pretty nice shape. Like a number of the ones I have have held up pretty well. It's like surprisingly well.
So, what was the first time that you bought an actual Cambodian record? Like not like a compilation reissue, but something that came out in Cambodia in 50s, 60s, or 70s.
The first original I got was about 1.5 years ago.
And was it online?
Yeah, I've found them all online.
If you've never just found one in a store?
No.
Really?
No, I don't. I haven't heard of anyone ever doing that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe you. That's fascinating.
I'm sure people.
So everyone most likely everyone who has one knows what they have.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to expect in Cambodia because that's why I'm going there. Yeah. But I've anticipated. I haven't gone sooner, frankly, because as far as searching for the records, I assume I could go to Cambodia for 2 weeks and find nothing. I don't.
Who was putting them out in Cambodia back then? Like, what were there record labels there? Were they American record labels?
It was all Cambodian labels, as I understand it. The documentary can fill in a lot of these details,
cool.
but it was all centered around the national radio there. That was where they all recorded. They all used one. It was basically, I think, one studio with
so awesome.
one microphone hanging in the middle of the room. Somehow the recordings still sound great, even though
I mean, the
just, like,
Sonics did that a lot, and
Yeah.
they sound great.
Yeah. But yeah, there were a ton of labels, at least 10 or 15, I think.
Was there a pressing plant there, or is that everything?
That I don't know enough
Okay.
about yet. Yeah, I don't know how they were doing it.
Okay, I'm just curious.
Yeah, me too.
Let us know when you get back.
I'm gonna find out.
Actually, we should have you on again when you come back. Do
Yeah.
a little part two to
A
this.
little, with a catch up or update.
Yeah, sounds good.
I think it sounds good. Were you gonna say something?
No, I try not to speak on the podcast.
You know what? Our listeners write in and they
Yeah.
say they like that.
Yeah. They say, Danny, I like your words. I don't know who that other guy is.
So a few more questions. One, once you started when you buy from someone,
Yeah.
do you just be like, do you just ask them like, what else do you got? Like, do you press them for information? Like, do you have more of these? Can I find out what you have? Or is it just
Can I come over?
Is this a well, but you said like a lot of them come from France, right?
The first one I got was from France. The third one I got was from France. I got a batch from a guy, I think that was in Serbia.
That's really interesting.
Now, those ones were unique, though. They were from the Prince of Cambodia at the time.
Holy shit.
He was that was part of why it was such a vibrant music community. He took over and he introduced a lot of progressiveness to the country, and he was very pro arts.
Whoa.
And he had recordings of his own. I have a songbook of his, actually. It has 2 flexi records in it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty unique.
In regards to buying records from France, how are they at packaging their records for mail?
What, do you work at a record store?
Historically terrible with everything else I've gotten. Fortunately, the Cambodian records have come through. The first one I got was actually in Virginia.
Okay.
When I bought that, I asked him if I could send him a box so that he could send it back in, and that's what I did.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen Chris rant about broken records or records that weren't packaged well.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. They've all come through okay, but I've definitely pressed sellers to. I've implored them to take the utmost care.
Yeah, for the love of God.
Yeah.
Are there any stuff on 78 or no?
There's more traditional music that came up before this on 78, but
Okay.
this music doesn't go back that
yeah,
far.
okay.
I actually do have a pair of 78s, but I don't even know what's on them, honestly.
Yeah.
But
Well, the reason I wonder is because I know that like in India, they were making like Beatles 78s. Like they were making
Really?
78s like. Just because a lot of people had those players, and
Yeah.
so they were still like making like
They were bootlegging it onto 78s.
Yeah.
basically, yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was just wondering if there's any of that. Which, I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of the Beatles, but if I could get a Beatles bootleg 78 from India, I'd pay $10 for that.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be $10.
You find the right yard sale.
Jesus.
Eh?
yeah. The records are almost exclusively 45.
Okay.
There were some LPs, but they're not many. I don't know of many.
And were the LPs just like compilations of 45s or
No,
okay.
I'm not sure. They don't seem like they were.
Okay.
Or
Any concept records? Just kidding.
They did a lot of movie soundtracks actually,
Oh.
and that's an interesting difference. Not only was there a big progression in the music because of the era, 50s to 70s, the first bunch of songs are much more like crooner Sinatra style, and then they started playing go-go music, and then like you said, once the military was over there and they were hearing the radio, they started doing a lot of more. Like they have like Santana covers and stuff like that, like it got really psychedelic.
That's pretty cool.
Or like there was
do a cover of Smooth.
Yeah, we've talked about it.
No.
What do you have one of the soundtracks?
No. So no, I don't have one of those actually. That I don't think I do. They usually have like stills from the film on the cover.
Be like romance, action, horror.
I
I mean, I'm somewhat being serious.
Yeah.
I hope it's horror.
I don't. Mostly they, to me, I think they're more like dramas, love stories, things like that. And so I think occasionally like war stories or like battle stories. Yeah. But yeah, those are usually they usually either have very depressing sounding songs or very traditionally based songs that sound different from the rock, like garage rock, Beatles rock stuff, go-go stuff. You
mentioned that the first time you heard like Cambodian music, it was on YouTube. Are there like people who have channels that like they have a pretty rich amount of these, or is it just kind of like a few here and there?
Most of the stuff online is from basically 4 or 5 people that awesome. Have like 300 records. I can't express how many of these records they made. There's probably at least 500. There's just an endless amount. And are these like them recording the records digitally, or are they one of those things where they just like point a camera at a record spinning? Have you ever seen like those videos of people who do that? Yeah. And I was like, really? Like, come on. Like, there's some of both. There's mainly these main 4 or 5 sources seem to have like actual decent audio setup. Yeah. But still, it's.
Have you contacted them about trying to buy their stuff?
No, but I have been in contact trying to work with people that have larger collections to jointly release. Like, one of these people I'm talking about actually was the source of most of the music for the soundtrack to that documentary. And I am hoping to work with him to do more of that.
That's good.
I really hope that works out.
I'm
in talks with him. We're friends on Facebook.
Oh, if you want to be friends with Accents on Burps on Facebook,
we have a Facebook page.
I don't even know what the address is.
It's I think it's just facebook.com / I don't know /Accents on Purpose.
There's no front slashes.
Well, maybe
not on the internet. Is the soundtrack to that movie the only thing of his collection that's officially been released?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, so is there a compilation of stuff that was like the Berkeley Library has it, or am I?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what it is.
That's right. Yeah.
But isn't that like it's a lot of like they don't really know what it is? You just tell you what it is.
Yeah. So I.
Well, I mean, I sort of know the story, but I don't know the details.
I know the story.
Okay.
So that's
why we have guests instead of just us talking.
Our podcast is I don't really know the story.
There's a reissue label.
Good podcast. Yeah.
There's a reissue label in town. Called Sublime Frequencies. You're talking about the Cambodia Cassette Archives.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm
talking about. They found these, like I was talking about, these bootleg labels and such things made cassettes and stuff in the 80s. Some of these came in, they had these at the library in Berkeley, I guess. And I guess it was back in the 90s they, like, sourced these tapes. Like, this label sourced these tapes. But the tapes were so shoddy, like they didn't have a lot of data, information about the artists and song titles and stuff like that. So this is one of the earlier comps that has come out of this music, in the West. So I think they put that out in like 2002 or 2004 on CD, and I think about 80% of it said like unknown artists. Yeah, it was just
because I think that was the first time I'd ever heard any Cambodian music.
And so, that was one thing that
it was a little annoying.
That was a little inspiring to me, about why more research needs to be done. Yeah. And to speak to them though, it was really cool to see they just reissued it this year on vinyl, and they have since gone back and identified most of the songs. The track listing is almost complete now, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's great.
But yeah, interesting ways. That's kind of how it's been for years now, trying to source this music, is like finding a library in Berkeley.
So now this is something that you may or may not be able to answer. Maybe after you go there you have a better idea. Do young people in Cambodia care that much about old music?
I aim to find out.
Okay.
I don't have the sense of it. I think it's still, from what I understand, it's still an influence. It's still, it seems to still be a pretty heavy influence in how music is thought about there, and how it's written.
I mean, knowing very little, honestly, about Cambodia, I'd be interested to know, like, how much the country as a whole, like, are trying to recapture their culture like, know about it or even bring back, like, things that they may have lost during, the dictatorship or the genocide or whatnot. Like, even young people, like, what their parents tell them, like...
Yeah. I mean, I do know it's a really big part of their culture still. There's one of the main male artists, his name is Sin Sisamut, and there's a Sin Sisamut Cafe.
That's awesome.
Oh, okay.
In Phnom Penh, the capital.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of other cafes that have murals of the artist's portraits and all stuff like that.
So it's still in the national consciousness.
Yeah, there's like art, like they've had showings of like record covers at places based off of the documentary happening. And
because I was someone imagining like two teenagers who listen to like EDM.
Yeah.
And then, like, at some point, like, they're talking to each other, and then they, like, mention, like, old Cambodian music. Like, yeah, do you know, like, in America, like, a bunch of, like, really nerdy guys just, like, jizz all over themselves to try to get this stuff?
Bro, that's disgusting.
I know.
You're gross.
I know. But, I mean, and I know that it's a whole country, and, like, obviously, like, there's going to be different opinions.
You should speak for a whole country.
But I was just wondering how much... because, like, yeah, I mean, if you find teenagers today, do they give a shit about folk music from the 1920s?
Well, I guess some of them, yeah.
Some of them do, but on the whole.
I mean, they definitely have caught, the Western influence of, hip hop and, like, radio music in America is something that, like in the Don't Think I've Forgotten documentary, there's a little clip at the end of the film showing, like, teenagers listening to that kind of stuff, but it was interesting because even with that, it has this like kind of westernized sound to it with heavy beats and everything. Yeah. But it was talking all about like the history of like I will honor my ancestors and like I'm giving praise and all that kind of stuff. Like it's very spiritual, but it was like a hip hop song. So.
Do you want to talk a little bit about the event that's going on Saturday?
Yeah. So before the trip that Rajana Society is doing, we're having a arts event at King Street Station here in Seattle. There's a unique arts outlet there going on right now. The King Street building has been having art showings each month. In rotation. Yeah,
how long has that been going on? It hasn't been going on that long.
I think it started in early this year or late last year, yeah.
And it was funny because the first time someone invited me to it, when they said the King Street Station, I thought someone just was being funny and naming their gallery that, but it's actually the King Street Station.
Is it? Do they do First Thursday stuff now too, or? I feel like I did, like that was the first time I heard about it. It was like I was looking at First Thursday stuff.
That's when they typically have openings. Okay. This month is I think a split month. So we have ours opening this Saturday the 17th. It's the third floor of the King Street Station. It was completely out of use for 40 years or something. Now the city was trying to do something with that space or flip it, like sell it to someone. It's just been sitting there, so now they're letting art exhibits go in there.
And it seems like it's actually who's ever handling it is letting like good stuff happen. It's not it's not lame. Yeah.
Well, it's Greg Lundgren is a local arts maven. He is managing all that and booking it. He's doing a pretty cool job. He's had a lot of cool stuff in there. So he owns a Hideout Bar and Vito's, I believe, or he helps run them.
Vito's is great.
Yeah.
Also, speaking of Vito's, and just throwing a quick shout out, September 29th, which is either Wednesday or Thursday, Prom Queen will be playing there, she's awesome. And it's a free show. It starts at 9. They're doing 2 sets. I'm going to be there.
Nice.
Anyways, your event on Saturday.
Yeah, so Rajana Society, they're doing this art show. It's called Spin Rajana. Like I said, Spin means bridge. It's trying to bridge Cambodian arts with the rest of the world. So this event is actually called Intersections. It's intended to engage in an exploration of Khmer arts and the relation that has to all of the rest of us. And so on that note, it's cool because they're having over 20 artists of about 20 nationalities, I think. It's not just Khmer artists, but also Laotian, and I think there's Japanese American, and I'm going to be DJing there.
What time?
I am in the 5 to 8:30 slot along with a Cambodian hip hop group. So I'm not sure how we're gonna play that out, but yeah, 5 to 8:30 on Saturday. So the opening is Saturday and Sunday. There's a really full schedule of. I was actually really impressed when I learned what is going to happen at the event, because it's kind of all day, both days. There's talks. You can meet the artists. They have people coming in from all over the country, like artists
from Massachusetts.
Probably, yeah. There's some filmmakers who are going to be talking about their film work.
Quick side question.
Yeah.
So you're talking about like in the 50s, 60s, 70s in Cambodia, a lot of the music was soundtracks. Are those movies? Did those movies survive? Like, is that something that can be seen?
Almost none of them. Almost
fuck.
It's those were almost universally destroyed.
I guess
it's hard to take a movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say yeah.
Back when it was reel to reel.
Yeah, taking some 45s in your suitcase is a little different than taking
Wow.
That heavy canister.
Well, and
I really think
I have a cameo.
Yeah, I really think we should just flee for our lives.
And film, is so hard to preserve over time anyway. But there are a couple of things that, and they're actually, I've seen some on YouTube, like full films.
Oh, that's funny.
Of course, I don't fully understand them, but yeah, there's a few things like that. But that's one of the tricky things too. Is like there's so much. There can be so much misinformation. Like I saw a song, Cambodian song, with a backing video, and it seemed like it was saying that the song was in that film, but then it turned out the film was actually just some like 80s footage of like some other music thing.
Yeah.
Or like, it had been like attached to that later in the 80s, something like that. So there's so many things to figure out. Like I've been compiling this spreadsheet of like every piece of random information, and like I have been going on these YouTube videos and pulling out like 45 information, song titles, and then comments on them that give them context from people. But then like there's routinely like context and counter context where someone says like this song came out this year, and someone's like no way it came out. So like I'm pulling all this information. I'm like hopefully I can get a consensus somehow or something like that. But I may have to, it's going to be it's walking through kind of a, difficult, like.
It's like solving a mystery.
It's like solving a mystery that you don't know if you're actually going to be able to solve. Yeah. You might just have to kind of cut bait at some point if it's too contradictory.
Let's get Starley Kine on this, all right?
Who?
Mystery show? Nothing?
I don't watch TV.
No one here.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's a podcast. I thought you were into podcasts, Danny.
I love I just watched this
podcast.
podcast.
I watched this, but for the people out there who got that joke, they're gonna be like, huh.
They're gonna be like, wow, the first joke I laughed at was Joseph made. I feel bad about myself.
If you felt bad about yourself, please email us at accidentsonpurposepodcast@gmail.com.
Back to this trip. Are you gonna bring are you gonna record any of it visually or like audio wise?
I'd like to take a camera if it's in my budget.
A video camera or stills?
Well, someone told me I should buy a GoPro, and I said
just have it the whole time.
I said, oh, I didn't think about that, and they're like, yeah, they're like $100 or $200, and I was like, maybe I should buy a GoPro. I didn't know they were that cheap. Yeah, so feel free to donate so I could buy a GoPro at my.
Put that on the very top.
Or if you have if you live in Seattle and you have a GoPro, you're willing to loan to someone to take to a foreign country.
Yeah, for 2.5 weeks.
For 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
You can send it to the studio.
Yeah.
And we'll get it to Chris.
Yeah.
Or you can email us. accessontpurposepodcast@gmail.com.
Fuck you.
Rajana Society is going to so the trip is like I think I said 20 people.
I don't think you said that.
Oh yeah, there should be about 20 of us, and someone's filming a whole bunch of it for. They're intending to make a documentary of some kind about our trip.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
What's the Cambodian population in Seattle like compared to like other comparable U.S. cities?
I like this question. There's a big community of it around Tacoma, actually.
Oh.
And I'm still kind of learning about that and getting kind of connected to it. But yeah, I know a few people in Cambodia of Cambodian descent who are in Tacoma.
Huh.
One guy I know, actually, this is kind of interesting. I was hanging out on Capitol Hill last year, and I saw someone walk past. I was having a coffee, and they had Sin Sismit on their T-shirt.
I'm sorry, what does that mean?
He was the male artist I mentioned,
okay.
Cambodian artist.
Sorry, I didn't fucking memorize every word you said.
It's fine. And so I ran out of the cafe, and I ran down.
Tackled him.
I
got it at a fucking thrift store, you weirdo!
I tackled this guy and asked him where he got that shirt, and he said he got it from his friend who lives in Tacoma. Well, his friend is a friend of mine now. His name is Silong. He runs this Cambodian clothing thing he does in Tacoma called Red Scarf Revolution.
Wait, so let me clarify this. Is it like Cambodia-style clothing or like T-shirts with Cambodian stuff screen printed?
Yeah, more like that.
Okay.
Like hoodies and shirts that like promote like Cambodian pride. Yeah.
Okay. I know it was like traditional Cambodian clothing or something.
No, more like streetwear that is supporting Cambodian pride and history.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. So yeah, he has some shirts of some of these artists and stuff, as well as just like Cambodian flag design, things like that. And I've been in touch with him. He actually worked on a film about a Cambodian poet, like who currently does work. He was a refugee that lived in the States and was deported back to Cambodia.
Oh, for fuck's sakes, why?
Well, he was in jail for some things. He's had like a checkered life. But he kind of got on the right track. But deportation is a big problem right now in America with Cambodian refugees, which is one of the things that is part of the social justice aspect of Rajana. But anyway, my friend Silong, there's a documentary about this poet, and he did the audio work for the film, and they actually licensed some of this oldie stuff for it.
Oh, cool.
And then he's one contact I have where he has like an uncle who one day he sent me a photo. He was at his uncle's and they had like 10 or 15 of the 45s. So I've got another little source we can work together to reissue those. Those look like they were some of the like film soundtrack ones actually. Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
It's interesting. Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to say? Anything else you want to go to?
Well, my donation link is at GoFundMe.com/Pearl of Asia. Yeah, I highly recommend checking out the Don't Think I've Forgotten documentary. It really framed everything well. Yeah. The negatives the disappointments I've heard about it are that it doesn't have a lot of footage, but obviously you can understand why it doesn't have a lot of footage because
there's a dictatorship destroying
they
it.
They did a very good job of reconstructing what they could and adding their own, flair to it
Which, strangely enough, when me and my friends saw it, one of the first things we said was, holy shit, they had a lot of footage. Because I think considering the situation, they have a lot of footage.
I know that.
Do you think when they started making it, they were like, I don't even know if we can make it in a way?
I know he assumed he wouldn't find any footage to use, and he was shocked when he... I'd have to refresh my memory on how he discovered... I know there was one contact he had in particular that had a lot of film, and was what he used. But I know he was really surprised to find it. Yeah. I mean, that all I could say about the documentary is, it's really, it lays everything out really well to explain a lot of questions you might have about it, and I think the music is just unparalleled. I'm just floored every time I hear it. It's so good.
All right, let's pull out of your bag. Let's throw a record on and take us out. This is another week of Access on Purpose.
Yeah.
Keep one finger on the pause button, one foot in the grave.
And thank you for listening.